Hello, guys. We're in a little bit of a different setting today. We're in my car. And the reason for that is that I wanted to make kind of a sit down, like actual talk video instead of like a vlog, which I normally do. I'm a little late to this, so I'm sorry. I just haven't gotten a chance to have time to sit down and do this. But before the new year, I was doing some reflection and just of things that I've accomplished in 2025 and my goals that I have. And then I also sat down and I thought about things that I learned mostly in 2025, but also like throughout my life. And I turned 20 a couple weeks ago, and I thought it would be a good idea to make a video of 20 things that I learned in 20 years of living. And I want to preface this by saying that I have learned these things. I have not been able to fully put these things into action. Like, I'm still learning. But I thought this could just help somebody or change your perspective on something or open your eyes to something. And this also would have helped me before I turned 20. These are also things that I wish I knew before I turned 20, obviously. I like to take a learning lesson out of everything that I do. I feel like there's always something to be learned, something that taught me something. There's always a reason for everything. And there's always a learning lesson in everything. So, without further ado, let's get started with 20 things that I wish I knew before I turned 20. First thing on my list is something that I realized very recently, and I'm not really going to talk about how I came to realize this, but it is that our bodies are not who we are, and they're simply the vessel that our souls use to travel the universe. And I started thinking about this, and I read something that said if all of us were just our souls, so like no physical body, but just our souls, how different would the world be? And so you wouldn't see people how they are physically, but you would see them more as like they how they act, how they speak, how they feel, how like what they give off, like their vibe. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's it's become a big thing for people to judge other people based on how they look or how they present themselves, as in like how they dress or literally whatever, how they express themselves, like their style, their makeup, their hair, literally anything. And a lot of hatred towards people is formed around how they are physically. So there's also a thing that goes with like if somebody is considered ugly, well, what considers them ugly? Like how they do their hair, how their face looks, how their teeth look, how their nose looks, their facial features, their body features. What what makes them be considered to be ugly? You know what I mean? And honestly, without stereotypes and without like the concepts that we've created about what being pretty is, I feel like the only way to actually tell if somebody's ugly is how they act and how they treat people. And that goes back to the whole thing of like if people were only their souls, if you look at how somebody treats somebody else. Okay, think about it this way. You're hanging out with somebody who is considered to be like beautiful societally, and you're at a restaurant and the server comes up and they're just super mean to the server. The food takes a while, maybe they yell at the server, maybe they're just like angry at the server. That's ugly to me. Like that shows that you're an ugly person if you're acting like that. And even though they're societally considered beautiful based on their physical features, they're ugly because of their attitude, because of the way they're treating people. And I feel like also people who people who treat people unfairly or unkindly or are just rude or just have an attitude or just negative about things, it shows up on them. Like you can kind of see it on them. Like it'll show up on their face. It'll show up in the way they like treat themselves and present themselves, it kind of like you can tell when somebody just has a nasty attitude. And I think that we should stop seeing people, because it's easy also when you're with somebody who's considered beautiful, it's easy to trust that person and be like, oh, I want to be friends with that person, or I want to hear what that person values or thinks or has to say just because they're pleasing to your eye to look at. Does that make sense? I just like to think about if somebody, when I'm meeting somebody new or I'm interacting with somebody, I like to think about how they come off to me, not how they look, but how they talk to me, how they act towards me, how, their values, their beliefs, their opinions, like how they actually are, how their soul is, not how their physical body is. Because at the end of the day, your body lives, what, 80 to 100 years? After your body's gone, what do you have to say for yourself? Oh, my hair was pretty. My facial features were nice. That has nothing to do with anything. It was how did you act in the world? How did you present yourself? How did you treat people? How did you treat yourself? So I guess that can segue into a second point, which is that your words and what you say creates your reality. And this is something that I have learned so much, and I just constantly keep seeing the evidence of it. When the things that you say, okay, your brain does not know what is real and what is not real. So what you tell it, it will believe. And that's just like fact. So, for example, say I was actually talking to my best friend about this the other day, and she's a guitar player. So I'm going to use the example that I gave her. So, if you are a guitar player and say you've never played before, or you've only been playing for a short amount of time, or even if you've been playing for a long time, and you feel like you're not doing very well at it, and you tell yourself, I'm not good at this, like, I'll never be good at this, I just can't get the hang of it, everybody else is so much better than me, like, I'll never be as good as them, then you put that mindset into your brain. You tell your brain that, your brain's going to believe it, and you're just going to keep discouraging and doubting yourself, and then you're never going to be able to learn how to play the guitar because all that you think is, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm not good enough for this. You're never going to actually put your mind forth enough. You're you know what I mean. You're never going to actually be like, okay, maybe I actually can do this. Maybe if I take the time and learn, I'll be able to do this. On the other hand, if you tell yourself, you know what, it kind of boils down to being delusional. You kind of have to be delusional into doing what you want to do. So if even if you could be the most terrible guitar player ever, okay? Like you could just be downright awful, genuinely. If you tell yourself, maybe I'm not good at this now, but I really want to do this and I think I have great potential and I think that I can put my mind towards it and I can be better. And then you start to think, oh, I'm actually the best ever at this. Like, I'm so good at guitar. I am the best in my game. Like, nobody can beat me. And you know what? You could be a terrible guitar player, but you keep telling yourself that you're the best in your game and you can do this. That just puts a whole sense of confidence in yourself and that pushes you to be able to go and continue doing it and continue learning. And you don't, when you doubt yourself, it's like, what's even the point of learning this? Like, I might as well not even, but then when you delusion, okay, I don't know if this is a word, but I'm going to use it, and I feel like you're going to understand what I'm saying. If you delusionalize, stick with me here, yourself into believing that you're a good guitar player, who is to say you're not? Who is to doubt you? Nobody can tell you what you are and aren't. You can tell yourself what you are and aren't. And then when you tell yourself you are a good guitar player, you can only become a good guitar player because you put your mind towards something, you create that confidence for yourself, you create that reality for yourself. You are a good guitar player. You tell yourself, I am good at guitar, therefore, you are good at guitar. And the only person whose opinion matters is yours at the end of the day. That's just an example, but that goes for things, and I'm not saying, okay, let me make a little disclaimer and say that this isn't like, you can't tell yourself, like, I'm gonna open my door tomorrow and find $1 million on my doorstep. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. But you could be like, I genuinely believe that I am good enough to do something that will earn me $1 million. Like, I can put myself to whatever it is I want to put myself to and earn $1 million. I can make $1 million. I will get $1 million. And then that just, you make your brain believe that, because the more and more you tell your brain that, the more it's gonna see that as reality and as fact, and then it's actually, your mindset is gonna shift, and then you'll actually be in a spot where you're like, okay, I can do this easy. Like, I can do whatever it is that I put my mind to. So your words create your reality. On the other hand, if you tell yourself, let's say you tell yourself every day, you're ugly, you're insecure, you hate the way you look, you hate the way your face shape is, you hate your facial features, you hate your body, you hate whatever, literally whatever, you're gonna hate yourself. That's because you're just putting all of this information into your brain saying, like, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm not, you know, societally, just, this is just an example. Stick with me here, okay? You keep telling yourself that you're insecure and you're ugly and you can't do this and you can't do that. And then all your brain hears is can't, won't, impossible. And then you're just going to keep telling yourself, all you're going to believe is these things that you're telling yourself. And I heard on a podcast one time say that if something's going to go terribly, if you keep telling yourself something's going to go terribly, it's going to go terribly. So it was the story of this guy who, and I'll put the podcast somewhere on the screen or somewhere in the description or something, because I want to give credit where credit is due. But I'm going to take the story just to use as an example for you guys. If you tell yourself that, so it was this guy and he was going on a trip with, I think, his nanny and his wife and his 3 kids or something. And he was like, I'm dreading this trip. The plane ride is just going to be awful. The kids are going to be crying. There's always going to be a problem. Like, it's just going to be super annoying. I'm not going to be able to enjoy myself because my kids are there. And the guy, the host of this podcast who was talking to this guy, was like, well, if you think it's going to be terrible, it's going to be terrible. And the man started to shift his mindset and he went on his trip and he was like, okay, I'm just going to tell myself, like, even if I think it's a lie, I'm just going to tell myself, like, it's going to be good. Like, it's going to be fine. We're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy ourselves. And when he was on the trip, he, instead of just seeing all the bad stuff of, like, all the kids are going to be crying, like, the plane ride is going to be miserable, or the flight is going to be miserable, he started thinking, like, what an amazing opportunity I have to be able to go on a trip with my family and our nanny. Like, we've got our nanny here, she's going to watch our kids, me and my wife can just enjoy ourselves, this plane is great, like, what an amazing opportunity we have to be able to afford this flight and this vacation. And he shifted his mindset and he had a great time on the vacation because he told himself, this is going to go great. Like, this is an amazing opportunity, it's going to be an amazing experience, like, we're not going to have any issues. And every little issue that he came across, inevitably, because he has children, he was able to calmly get through it and be like, okay, you know what, it is what it is, like, we're still going to have a great time. And he had a great time. Okay, so number 3 on my list, and this is something that I've struggled with for a very long time because I used to be an awful people pleaser. And the quote that actually started getting me out of this people pleaser mindset and what taught me this thing that I'm about to tell you guys was, it said, stop inconveniencing yourself for the convenience of others. And that resonated with me so much. I think about it almost on the daily. It's like my Roman Empire, actually. And my point that I wrote down is, you can't please everyone. You cannot please everyone. That's just a fact. Like, no matter how hard you try, there are always going to be people that probably don't like you, probably don't like what you do or the way you do things. And the more and more that you fight in your life to try and please everyone and try to make yourself look good for everyone in their eyes, the more and more you're just going to lose yourself and forget why you're doing what you're doing, because everybody is so different. Literally everybody is so different. Everybody has different ways of seeing things, different things that they consider to be good or pleasant to them, and you're not going to be able to fit yourself into every single one of those molds. You can't please everyone. That's just a fact of life. And number 4, you can't change anyone. Okay? That's just another fact. Like, you can't force anybody to change. The only person that can change anyone is themselves. So if you want to change, okay, think about if you're doing something and you're enjoying your time, you're enjoying what you're doing, you're having a great time doing it. Somebody comes up to you and says, I hate that you're doing that. You have to stop now. Why? Like, why? Are you going to change yourself for that one person just because they didn't like what you were doing, even though you love it? Probably, I would hope not. I mean, it's not their life, it's your life that you're living. You do what you want with your life. And they're like, you're going to have to change that. Why? Why should I listen to you? I don't want to change. But see, if you sat there and you do some reflection and you think about, I actually don't like that I do this. I want to change it. You have the entire power within yourself to change that for yourself, by yourself. Nobody can tell you anything that's going to make you change what you're doing. That comes from reflection, and the only person who can change anything is you, if you want to. So nobody else can make you change. In the same breath, you can't make anybody else change because that is their choice. And you're not living their life. You don't know what's good for them. You don't know what they want to do. You don't know what they need for their future. Only they know that. So nobody can change you. You can't change anyone. Number 5, comparison is the thief of joy. Now, I know we've all heard this one. I know we've all heard this one. And this one is really important because when you have goals, no matter how big or small, just anything that you want to achieve, anything that you want to have, anything that you want to do, and you work hard towards that, and you see somebody else get that thing or do that thing or literally whatever, it's easy to be like, well, why did they get it and I'm working so hard and I still don't have it? Like, when is it my turn? And the important thing is to remember is that everybody's lives are completely 100% different. Everybody's future, everybody's like storyline, everything is unique to that person. And maybe in their storyline, it is to have that thing or get that thing at that amount, at that certain point in time. Maybe in your storyline, you are meant to have that thing, but not right now. Maybe you're meant to have it in the future, whether that be next week or next month or next year or 5 years, 10 years, literally whatever. If you're meant to have that thing, you will get it. Just because you don't have it right now and you see somebody else having it doesn't mean that it's not also for you. And so comparing yourself to somebody else's life is just, I'm sorry for saying this, but it's stupid because maybe that person is at a point in their life where they are ready to have that thing. And you're at a point in your life where even if you don't know it and you don't realize it, no matter how badly you want it, you're not ready to have that. So maybe it's a job opportunity and you and your friend are both applying for that same opportunity and your friend gets the job and you don't. And then it's like, well, what does she have or he have that I don't? Or what are they doing that I'm not doing? Or like, why did they get this and I didn't? And you start comparing it. But maybe you're meant to do something else before you get that job. Or maybe you're meant to learn something else before you get that job. You know, and that's just an example. I mean, that's literally about anything. If once you start comparing yourself to somebody else, you're trying to live their life and experience their experiences. You have to trust that there's a timeline and there's a reason for everything that happens in your life. It's not accidental, okay? And if you believe that it's accidental and there's no plan or no reason for anything, then probably you shouldn't watch this video. But there's a time for everything and everyone. And maybe even down the road, you'll realize you didn't even want that job and you're glad you didn't get it. And they're having a great time, but you got an even better opportunity or you got something else that you realize you actually enjoyed more. And you just can't compare your life to other people's lives because also you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they went through to get to that point. You don't know what they're going to go through. And you really should just be focusing on your own life and appreciate what you have and stop comparing yourself because then it literally steals your joy because you can't stop and smell the roses. You can't appreciate what you already have because all you're thinking is, why don't I have this? And why do they have it? Do you know what I mean? Anyways, number 6, heartbreak is good. And this one is kind of hard to come to terms with, or it was for me anyways, because it's like, well, why is heartbreak good? It's just sad and awful. But the more and more I have been heartbroken in my life, the more I have realized that it has changed me and grown me to be a better woman. Every single time I've experienced heartbreak, I've come out the other end stronger. And honestly, if I never experienced heartbreak, I would have never grown. I would have never learned. I would have never changed. And it's important to not only understand, but also appreciate the fact that you have emotions and you are able to experience heartbreak, that you had something so good and maybe you don't have it anymore. But the fact that you had that thing to begin with is amazing. And the fact that you are able to have emotions and experience these kinds of things is amazing. Would you rather live your life in complete perfection where nothing ever goes wrong and you're just living every single day and everything is perfect. I feel like as nice as that sounds right now, that would get so boring. There would be nothing to ever work for. There would be nothing to ever learn. There would be nothing to ever go through. I think challenges and hardship is the beauty of life. And the whole point of it is that nothing is ever perfect and there will be heartbreak. But once you come to terms with that and you accept that fact, it's easier to get through and it's easier to appreciate. And yeah, heartbreak is good. I mean, it's bad in the moment, but it becomes a good thing and it makes you better for sure every single time. And I can put my life on that. It's good. You need it. Genuinely, you need it sometimes. I'm not saying like go and get your heart broken on purpose, but like when it happens, inevitably, don't think it's the end of your life. Just remember that there's a reason, again, for why that happened, and there's a lesson, and there's a chance for growth. All right, moving on. Number 7. 24 hours starts at any time. So if there's something you want to do, if there's some kind of commitment you want to make, I'm going to use the most popular, obvious one for this. Say you want to start going to the gym, you want to start eating healthier, you want to whatever, just live a healthier life. And you keep telling yourself, well, maybe you've decided this at 5 in the afternoon. Okay. So you tell yourself, tomorrow I'm going to wake up early, I'm going to eat a good breakfast, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to have a good lunch, I'm just going to live a healthy day. Tomorrow comes around. Typically, it's not going to happen that way. Typically, you're going to be like, well, start tomorrow, or I'll start the next day, or I'll start next week, or I'll start on the first of next month. Something. But why not start immediately when you make that decision? So you make that decision at 5 p.m. Well, if you decide, if you were going to have, maybe you normally have like pizza for breakfast or just something unhealthy, maybe decide, okay, what if I make like fish or chicken or steak or vegetables or something healthy? Like you have the power to make that action and restart at any time you want. You don't have to wait for the 24 hours to restart because 24 hours can start at any time. And so, okay, well, here's another example. Say you've been laying in bed all day, you're just rotting, you feel like crap, you haven't done anything you need to do, and we'll use 5 p.m. again. It's 5 p.m., and you're thinking, I didn't do anything today, I've wasted the entire day. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Who said your day has to start at 8 a.m.? Who's to say your day can't start at 5 p.m.? And I honestly, okay, I'm not saying like you should skip the whole day and start your day at 5 p.m. Like that's not really the best thing to do in my opinion, but you've just been having an unproductive day and you're laying there and you feel like you've wasted the whole day. Well, get up and do something about it. You don't have to wait until the next day to do something. You don't have to regret not doing something earlier that day. You're realizing now that you don't like the fact that you've wasted your day and laid in bed all day. So get up and do something about it. Clean your room, do your homework, go make dinner, go meal prep, do literally whatever it is you wanted to do. You don't have to wait, or you don't have to do things you want to do at a certain time. Okay, for the most part. Like, I'm talking about, like, you guys get it. I'm not talking about, like, you don't have to go to class at 9 a.m. because your class is at 9 a.m. You still have to do that. Or you don't have to clock into work because you're on the schedule to clock in for work. You obviously have to do that. But if it's something like, dang, like I really wanted to clean my room today, or I really wanted to go grocery shopping today, or I really wanted to run this errand, or I really wanted to do that, why can't you still? 24 hours starts at literally any time. You could literally go to the gym right now. Why not? Why do you have to wait? What are you waiting for? You're just going to keep wasting your time. I think this is the most I've ever talked in this amount of time. I'm going to take a little break, drink some water, and come back to you guys. Okay, I'm back. Number 8. We're not even halfway through this list, but that's okay. Number 8. You are supposed to feel lost sometimes. And this is something I realized when I was going through kind of an identity shift and I didn't really know who I was. I felt like I didn't really have a personality. I felt like everything about me was just bits and pieces made up of people I've interacted with, things I've done. It was all other people that made me who I was. And I didn't truly know myself, and I kind of had an ego death about it. I did have an ego death about it. And during that time, I mean, I'm still going through it. I'm still finding who I truly am at my core without everybody else's input, I guess. But I felt really lost, and I felt like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know who I was. I just felt empty. I felt stuck. I felt lost. But I saw this as a bad thing when in reality, you're supposed to feel lost. You're not supposed to know everything at all times. you're not supposed to. The whole point is that you don't know what's going to happen next. You just trust that whatever does happen next is meant for you and is good for you. And I realized that this is what I had been praying for the whole time, and I'm literally in the middle of shifting identities. Like, I am not who I was. I don't know who I'm going to be. I'm right in the middle and I feel lost, but the whole point is that I'm supposed to be figuring it out. I'm not going to go from one thing right to the next, you know? Like, there's a time where you feel lost, you feel stuck, you feel confused, you don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know what you want to happen next. And that's okay. That's literally the whole point, because you can't now. I know you've never heard this one before. The only way out is through. I know, huge revelation, right? But genuinely, like, the only way out is through. You have to go through that loss and that lost feeling and that confusion and that feeling of being stuck to realize, to get to that point of who you're supposed to be. You know, you can't. I mean, you're gonna be lost. Like, you can't find anything without it being lost first. You can't discover anything without it being undiscovered first. That's all I'm going to say on that one, because I feel like the more I talk about it, the more confusing it's going to sound, but I hope you know what I mean. Number 9, it is okay to say no to plans or cancel plans. 100% it is okay. If you have plans with somebody, say you have plans with a friend to go to dinner and you're excited about dinner, but for the week leading up to it, but when that day comes, all of a sudden all you feel is, I don't really want to go to dinner. I kind of just want to go home and lay in bed and make myself dinner, or I kind of just don't feel like talking. So would you rather, in that scenario, go to dinner with your friend and be miserable the whole time because all you can think about is how badly you wanted to lay in bed? Or would you rather text that friend and be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't really feel like going to dinner tonight. I would love to still go to dinner with you. Can we rain check? I just don't think tonight is a good night for me. And that's completely okay. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe your time to anyone. And that's not to say, like, don't waste people's time, right? If you're texting them like 30 minutes before you're supposed to go to dinner saying, I actually don't want to go anymore, like, it's a little messed up. Maybe don't do that. But, like, if you don't want to do something, you're not obligated to go and do that thing. And that's for plans. That's not for, like, I feel like I have to preface this with so many things. That's not for, like, work or school or anything. If you don't want to do work or school, you can't really, like, cancel that. You kind of need to do that unless you don't want to pay your bills or don't want to have a career. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But, like, if you have plans with somebody or somebody invites you to go out or do something and you just decide, I don't really feel like doing that, then don't do it. Then literally don't do it. It's your life. You get to do what you want. You make your decisions. If you're not feeling it, then don't do it. And that is a good segue into my 10th point of, you have to make your own decisions. You have to make your own decisions. I used to be the kind of person where every little thing I did, I was always asking somebody else what they thought that I should do. So if I was buying a piece of clothing, or if I was at a restaurant trying to order a meal, I would always ask somebody, do you think this piece of clothing would look cute on me? Or do you think I would enjoy this meal? Or do you think I should go do this? Or should I go do that? Or should I not do this? And then it gets to a point where you get into that spot of, what do I actually want? Like, you know what? And it goes right back to, who am I? What do I want? And once you start, the way I started doing this was very hard. Sorry, there's a plane. I don't know if you can hear it. It was very hard for me to start doing this because literally, like I said, every single decision that I made was based on somebody else's input. I just started little by little. I would go to the store and I would find a piece of clothing, and instead of texting my friend and being like, hey, do you think this is cute? Would this look cute on me? I just looked at it and I thought, how much do I really like this? Do I like how it looks on me? Do I like how it fits on me? Because again, it's your life. Your opinion is the only one that matters to you, or that should matter to you, because everybody else has different things that they like, things that they're interested in, things that they think are cute, things that they think are good, things that they think, that's a tongue twister, things that they think are not good, literally whatever. It's never going to be the same as your opinions and your thoughts and your beliefs. And you're the only one living your life. So why not make your own decisions? And I feel like recently it's gotten to the point of, we are very much tied to AI. And I've seen a lot of people, and I am guilty of this myself, talking to like ChatGPT and being like, what should I have for dinner tonight? Or what should I go do? Or what should I say? Or what should I wear? Why are you asking a robot or somebody else to make a decision for you. And this, again, I am guilty of this. Unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I have done this. But once you start making your own decisions and you actually do what you want to do and you wear what you want to wear and you eat what you want to eat, you realize, okay, I really like this. I feel good about this. And even if somebody comes up to you and tells you, hey, that outfit is super ugly, okay, sorry you think that. I don't. I think it's cute and I feel good in it. Or that's disgusting what you're eating. Sorry, I think it's delicious. I am really enjoying this meal. And you also learn more about yourself doing this because maybe you wear that outfit and then maybe you decide, I don't really like how this fits on me. I don't really like how this looks on me. Okay, great. Now you know for next time. Or, man, I really shouldn't have ordered this meal. I really don't like it. Okay, great. Don't order it again. Now you know. Now you can make a better decision next time. You have to build on it. It's like a muscle. You have to train it. Okay, number 11. You should be dating yourself. Now, this goes for if you're single, if you're in a relationship, whatever. I'm in a relationship and I still take myself to the movies. I still buy myself dinner. I still will go do whatever it is that I want when I want. Because why do I need to wait? I know, okay, I love my boyfriend very much and I love doing things with him and I love dating him, okay? That has nothing to do with this. But if I want to go do something and my boyfriend doesn't want to go do it, or my boyfriend is busy, or whatever, or even if you're single, you want to go do something, why should you wait on somebody else to do that with you? Or why shouldn't you do that just because somebody else isn't there to do it with you? And when you start to date yourself, you do things that you enjoy, you do things that make you happy. You're not waiting on anybody else because you enjoy your own company so much that you can just do it with yourself. You pour into yourself so much that nobody can take out of your cup. And once your cup is full from pouring into yourself and taking care of yourself and doing what it is that you want to do whenever it is that you want to do it, the only thing that can be done to your cup by anybody else is add to it. It can only overflow because once your cup is full, you can add to other people's happiness and they can add to yours. You should pour into yourself so much that you are completely, totally happy with yourself and you don't even need anybody else. Of course, it's nice to have your cup overflowing, but your cup is already full with yourself. You should date yourself. And that doesn't mean break up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, okay? This applies to single and taken people. And I've also realized that pouring into myself has made me better in my relationship because I'm not always waiting or depending on my boyfriend to go and do something with or for me because I can just as easily do it for myself. So I don't, if he's busy, I'm not upset that he's busy and I can't go out to dinner. Why can't I go out to dinner? I'll take myself out to dinner. And that's not to say that my boyfriend is a bad boyfriend at all because he treats me very well and he does do all these things for me, but I don't have to sit around and wait for him to do these things. I can do them whenever I want. I can delve into that one more in a separate video if you guys would like because I have a lot to say on that, but I do think it's important to date yourself and pour into yourself and do what makes you happy. Because you're supposed to be a whole, complete, full person in and of yourself when and if, okay, in and out of a relationship. All right, number 12. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a chapter. Some things are only meant to be in your life for a chapter. Maybe you are best friends with somebody or you're dating somebody and you're enjoying your time with them so much and somehow something happens and you guys end up not being friends anymore. You break up or you lose this thing or it's just not a part of your life anymore and you're like, well, dang, like now my life is over. No, some things or some people are only meant to be in your life to teach you something. They're only meant to be there for a chapter. They're not supposed to be there for your whole life. And as soon as you realize that and you trust that, if and when it gets to that point where it's not a part of your life anymore, they're not a part of your life anymore, you start to realize, okay, well, what did they teach me? What was the reason for them being in my life for that amount of time? Why aren't they in my life anymore? And how can I grow as a person now that I've known them and am not with them anymore? Some things aren't meant to be forever, and that's just the way it is. And as sad as it is in the moment, sometimes, well, all the time, it's for a reason. They were there to teach you something. Maybe you were there to teach them something, and they no longer have anything to teach you, or you no longer have anything to teach them. And now it's time for you to be your separate person and grow as a person and learn from that experience of them or that thing being in your life. Okay, number 13. Nobody actually really cares about what you do. Genuinely, nobody cares. And I know people say this, and it's like if you do something that's considered embarrassing, nobody's going to think about it. But switch that to yourself and think about a time where you saw somebody doing something really embarrassing. And think about how long, if you can even remember, think about how long you thought about that and think about how often you still think about it. Probably you probably thought about it for 2 minutes and then completely forgot about it until I just asked you to think about it again. And how did that affect them? Not at all. They're still going to do what they're going to do because you thinking that has no effect on them, that person that did something embarrassing. And also, like, for example, when you're at the gym and you do something and you're like, dang, everybody's watching me, or everybody just watched me mess that up, or whatever. For me, when I'm at the gym, all I can focus on is how is my form? What am I doing? Like, what am I about to go do next? Like, what am I thinking about? And I look at somebody else and maybe I see them doing something embarrassing. Okay, well, whatever, moving on. Literally move on. Everybody moves on. Nobody is going to sit there and reminisce on that one thing that you did or that one thing that you're doing, even if it wasn't embarrassing. Nobody cares what you do. Like, as far as nobody's going to think about that for longer than maybe 2 seconds. Everybody is so concerned with themselves, as they should be. I'm only concerned with myself. You should be only concerned with yourself. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Because what that person thinks is going to have no effect on you whatsoever for the rest of your life, ever. Ever. You are the only person who is going to have that effect on you. So if you do something and you think, dang, that was so embarrassing, I'm never going to live that down, like, first of all, why was it embarrassing? It's only embarrassing if you tell yourself it's embarrassing. If you trip in public, well, happens. You're not embarrassed by it. Nobody else is going to think about it. What constitutes something as embarrassing? That's what I would like to know. Because when you really dig deep and think about it, nothing is embarrassing. Because if you want to do it and somebody else thinks it's embarrassing, you don't think it's embarrassing, then who cares? You're still going to go do that thing at the end of the day. Number 14. This is something that I definitely realized a lot in the last year. That is that never take being young for granted. And I remember growing up when I was, and I'm pretty sure everybody has this. When I was growing up, I really wanted to have a car or have a phone or do all these adulty things. And now that I'm actually an adult, like everybody else, I'm realizing, dang, it was so nice when I was younger. I just want to go back. And last year, when I was 19, a very big goal and point of mine during that time was I'm going to act my age and I'm going to appreciate being 19 and I'm going to appreciate that I don't have these big things to worry about and I'm going to do what I want to do and I'm going to act my age. Life is so fleeting and I feel like I turned 9. I remember my 14th birthday, like literally like it was yesterday. And that was 6 years ago. Are you serious? And I never just sat there and appreciated being 14. And so while I was 19, all the time I was like, dang, I'm so glad that I'm 19 and I'm still so young and I still have so much ahead of me. Don't take your age for granted. Appreciate every age that you're at. And again, don't compare yourself to other people who are younger or older than you. Appreciate where you're at because where you're at is exactly where you're supposed to be. If you weren't supposed to be where you're at, you wouldn't be there. Okay? Okay. So, appreciate how old you are. Appreciate how young you are. Appreciate being alive, maybe? Question mark. That was a little more aggressive than I intended, but genuinely, like, appreciate it. Never take it for granted. All right, number 15. Stop chasing anything. Stop chasing it. Why are you chasing it? If there is a plan for your life and everything happens for a reason, like I've been saying, like I believe, then why should you chase something for it to happen? If everything in your life has a plan and has a reason, then everything that is meant for you will come to you. You will attract it because it is meant for you. You don't have to go there and chase it. And you know what? The more you chase something, the more it's going to run away from you. Because, okay, let's put this into perspective. Say you're just standing on the street, on a curb somewhere. You're standing somewhere and somebody comes up to you and they say, hey, I want to be your friend, or hey, you're really pretty, I want to be your boyfriend. And you're like, I'm okay, no thanks. You start walking down the street and they're following you. Why are they following you? You start speeding up a little bit, they start speeding up a little bit. You start running, they start running. The more and more they run after you, you're just going to keep trying to get as far away from them as you possibly can. So whatever it is you're chasing, the more and more that you're chasing it and the more that you're running after it, the more that it's going to run away from you. Are you with me here? Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? So, like, stop chasing, because everything that you want, everything that you need, everything that's meant for you will come to you. You just have to sit back and trust and believe it. And that's not to say like you shouldn't work for things. Like if you're trying to, this is a pretty big exaggeration, but say you want to become the president of the United States. You can't just like sit on your couch and be like, all right, well, I'm meant to be president. I'm going to be president. You have to actually put work in, but you're not following everybody around saying, hey, vote for me. Hey, I'm going to do this. Vote for me. Like, you're not chasing it. If you believe that you're meant to be the president and you are meant to be the president, you put in the work and it'll come. I can go deeper into that one too, but I feel like you get what I'm saying, I hope. Okay, number 16. And this one resonates with me a lot because I have struggled with OCD my whole life. And even if you don't struggle with that, not every thought deserves belief. And for me, I've always had really intrusive thoughts or just things that don't really make any sense or that kind of feel like they come out of nowhere. And I sit there and I ruminate on them and I think about them. But it doesn't deserve belief. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true, doesn't mean it's real. You can sit there and you can think about it and you can think, okay, is this actually logical? Is this valid? And if not, away with it. It doesn't deserve your full belief. It doesn't deserve all your time and energy. Not every thought deserves belief. Okay, 17. Consistency beats intensity. And this one I really apply to fitness, but it can be applied to anything, of course. And I'm going to use fitness as an example because it's what I know best about this. If you're at the gym and you're working out for 3 hours at a time and you're doing all these exercises, you're lifting, all the weights you're lifting are super heavy and it's all just super intense and you get out of it and you feel like death. You just feel so tired, your body hurts, everything hurts. And then the next day you're like, well, I did all that yesterday. I'm good for today. And the next day, I did all that the other day. I'm good for like the rest of the week. Like, I'm good. No, what really is going to give you results is showing up every single day. It doesn't matter the intensity. As long as you're doing literally anything and you keep showing up, eventually you're gonna see results. It doesn't matter how hard you train or how much you do something, it's how often you do it and how much you stick with it. You're not gonna go to the gym, work out for 3 hours super hard, and then see results. You see results the more that you go to the gym and work out, even if it's just 20 minutes. The more that you do it, the more effect and results you're gonna see. Okay, number 18. And I'm so glad we're almost at the end of this list because I have to pee so badly. Number 18, you don't need closure. Now, okay, the most common thing that I can put together with this is a relationship ending. Somebody breaks up with you. They don't tell you why. They just say, I'm leaving you. I don't want to be with you anymore. You don't have to sit there and be like, well, why? Like, what did I do? Like, what changed? What happened? Did I do something? Did I say something? Like, what makes you want to do this? You don't need to know that because, I mean, you just don't, because your closure is in the fact that they told you, I don't want to be with you anymore. Okay, that's all you need to know. That's why you don't need an over explanation. That is your explanation. They don't want to be with you anymore. All right, moving on. Obviously, it's sad, but that is your closure. You don't need to chase and go after and try to find and dig out more closure or explanation. You already got it. They already told you they don't want to be with you anymore, and that's the closure. And at that point, if you did do something wrong, it is on them to tell you, hey, you did this wrong. Maybe don't do this next time in your next relationship. And maybe it's up to you to do some reflection and be like, well, maybe I did do something wrong, or maybe it just wasn't right. Maybe it just didn't work out. Stop trying to look for closure, which is very much easier said than done. I know I always want closure. I always want an explanation for everything, but not everything deserves an explanation. You don't always need one. Okay, number 19. I am somebody who likes to have a strict plan for every single thing in my life. Every single day. I don't do this anymore. It was hard to stop, but I had to stop. From the moment I woke up to the second I laid in bed, every single minute of my day would be planned out. I mean, literally, 6:05, wake up. 6:05 to 6:10, brush teeth, make bed. 6:10 to 6:15, get ready for gym. Like, every single minute was planned out. And this caused a constant state of control, wanting control, feeling control, that when I didn't have control, Or if plans changed, even the tiniest bit, I would freak out because it didn't go exactly as my plan said. So, number 19 is learn to adapt and stop trying to plan everything. You have to learn to adapt because life is everything is constantly changing. Not anything is in one specific state at all points in time. And when you learn to adapt and you learn to let go of that control, you stop experiencing the anxiety and fear of being out of control because you know you're not in control. And when you make plans for everything, I've realized, whether that be for your day, for your future, for what you want to do, when you try to make a plan and you try to force it to happen and you try to stick to it, life will literally turn around and laugh at you and completely dump all of that on its head. You cannot plan anything. You do not know what's going to happen in the future unless you are a time traveler or a future psychic reader person thing. You get it. Unless you actually somehow do know how the future is going to pan out, you don't. You don't know. And that's the whole point. You're not supposed to know. So once you stop planning everything and you just accept that things are going to happen the way that they're supposed to, and you learn to adapt, you're going to stop freaking out. You're going to be able to move through life freely and how you're supposed to. Okay, last but very, very much not least, I would say maybe one of the most important things on this list, honestly. And this, I understand, might not apply to everyone, but for the most part, for me anyways, this is things that I've learned, obviously. My mother is always right, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately. But she's always right. Every single time that I've asked her something, single time that she's told me something and I went against it or I did something different, it always turned out to be what she said. So, for example, I wanted to get a dog for a very long time. I was really set on having a dog. I was on all the apps and all the posts and all the shelter pages, and I almost adopted one. I was reaching out to places to adopt dogs, and my mom the whole time was like, Jenna, you don't need a dog. You don't want a dog. You don't have time for a dog. You don't have this. You don't have that. You don't need, like, you trust me, it's not a good idea. And I thankfully did not end up getting a dog. And I was really sad about it in the moment, but then I realized later on, if I am really glad I never got a dog because at this point in my life right now, I wouldn't be able to have a dog. And the reason for that is that my mom isn't magical, okay? I'm sorry, mom, if you're watching this. But she's not magical. She doesn't know the future, but she's had so much more experience than I have. She's learned so much more than I have. Obviously, she's lived longer than me. She's experienced more than me. She knows how things usually will turn out. And I think it's important also that you do have to experience things for yourself. And I'm glad that sometimes I did go against what my mom said and I did figure it out for myself, because if I didn't and I just trusted her all the time, I wouldn't have any evidence to back up things that did or didn't work out for me because I didn't learn for myself. I just took her for my mom. But that being said, I've always looked back and been like, dang, my mother was right. I should have listened to her. And that's not to say I regret anything. That's not to say I regret any decisions that I made, anything I did. But my mom usually ends up being the one that's right. So, and she knows me pretty well. I think she's known me my entire life. So, I ought to start listening to her more. Anyways, that's all for today's video. I have to pee so badly. I really hope that you were able to take something out of this. I hope I was able to help you in some way. If you have any questions or have any other advice or want to add on to something, literally anything, please leave a comment. Let me know if you want me to make another separate video slash episode on any of the things that I said or anything else. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching all the way. Okay, we're at 58 minutes now, which is crazy. It's probably going to be condensed down, but thank you guys for watching all the way through. That's insane that you actually wanted to listen to me and see me and hear me for that long. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye!